Hello and welcome to this quick video on how to use user inputted values such as the ones given here to perform calculations on the back end and then output the new calculated figures here. So this is what it looks like. I'll run through the code very quickly. So how much do you value your time per hour? Say €100. How much of your time does it take to go grocery shopping? About 80 minutes. How much is a delivery charge if I were to get it delivered online? About €5. And how long does it take to order groceries online? Only about 15 minutes. And then it performs the calculations and realizes that the cost of shopping in person is your income per hour times the length of time it takes. And then the cost of shopping online is your income per hour times how long it takes plus the delivery charge. And you arrive at these two figures, and this is how much you save by either shopping online, or if I were to change this so that you only make €1 per hour, all other things being equal, it'll tell you that you should shop in person because the cost of shopping online is less than shopping in person in real terms when you value your time. So how do we make this? Well, the code is on GitHub. You can view it in the link in the description. This will be quick. So it's all in HTML and JavaScript. And so we have our styling here. It's just basic. All this stuff, very basic. You find out almost every HTML. Now this is the real stuff. So we open up a form, which gets closed down here. So that all of this text that you see is in a form. We write in our text how much you value your time per hour. So that's this text here. We do a break to go on to the next line. We put in our euro sign. That's the euro sign you see here. And then we create an input box. We identify the input box as income per hour so we can talk to it later in the code. And a size of 3. So you can see it's quite a small enough box. The width is a width of 3. And then we include the rest of our text per hour, break, new line. We do the same thing for all 4 pieces of the form. So that's for all 4 of these. Now for this bit here, the cost of shopping in person versus the cost of shopping online. It's very simple. We include cost of shopping in person, regular text, euro sign at the start, and then we include this thing called span. And span will be our variables that we can output to. So we'll take our information from here, we'll run some calculations behind the scenes, we'll come up with new numbers, and we'll output them to span. So this span will update and display the figures that we send it. And we have another span here. Now these spans will only include numbers. This span will include the full text because we don't know if it's going to say you should shop in person or if you should shop online. So we just make the function output the whole text, not just the number. So that's our front end. Now we move on to the back end. And I will move my face up here. And we see here, we start opening a script box. And this is where our JavaScript is. So first we make a variable. So we have our income per hour, which is, so all this is doing by creating these variables is that down here where we have our function to update profit, you see here how we have income per hour. Well, if we didn't create this variable, we would have to have this big long piece of text here. And that makes your code not very easy to read. It wouldn't be easy for me to teach you this if I included this long bit of code. It just doesn't look as pretty. So we could very easily take this code, copy that, and replace that with all this here. But we're not, just to make it look prettier. and make it easier to understand. So this is our function to perform the calculations. Now at the start of the function is an if statement. If this statement is true, then the function will run. If it's not true, then it won't run. So if the time to deliver value, so that's the value, time to deliver value, so that is just that is just what we entered here, the time it takes to order groceries to be delivered. If that value is not equal to nothing, so if it's not equal to nothing, if there's anything in this box, if there's anything in this box at all, this will run. Otherwise, this function won't run. Okay? So now we have our in-person cost. How do we calculate the in-person cost? Well, that's just some simple maths. It's your income per hour divided by 60. So then you're getting your income per minute. And you multiply that by the length of time it takes to shop in minutes. So income per hour is 100. So bring that down, that's about €1.20 a minute. Multiply that by 80 minutes. And then we, using the to fixed, that rounds it down to 2 decimal points. Okay? Exact same thing for the delivery cost, except we add on the delivery charge. So we add on the €5 delivery charge or whatever it may be. So then our summary, and that's just a variable, and that just means the in-person cost minus the delivery cost, rounded up to 2 decimal points. And then our summary full is the actual text that we will output. So there's 2 things it could output. So number 1 is if the summary is greater than 0. So if in-person cost, if the cost of shopping in person is €100 and the cost of getting it delivered is 50, it will tell you to shop online. Yeah, if the delivery cost is less, and if the in-person cost is more, if this is 100 and this is 50, it'll tell you to shop online. However, if this isn't true, if this is negative, if summary is negative, so that would mean that the cost of shopping in person would be 50 euro, and the cost of getting them delivered would be anything more than 50, so 51 or 100. If that is the case, it will output the thing that's after the semicolon, which is you should shop in person. And it will give you the summary times -1. So remember, our summary is the cost, is the in-person cost minus the delivery cost. But if this is 50 and this is 100, then this summary will be -50. Now obviously the amount you save will not be -50, it'll be €50. So you just multiply it by -1 to change a negative to a positive. And this is all our text. So remember summary full, we were going to output. So remember here, all we're outputting is this number and this number. But for this bottom line, we're outputting the whole line because we don't know if it's going to be in person or online. So now that we have all this done, we can output to these variables. So we can output a value to this span, we can output a value to this span, and we can output a value to this span. And the values are very simple. We know our in-person cost, we know our delivery cost, and we know the text we want to output. So we output all 3 of those variables. That's it, very simple. And that's the end of the function. So in a nutshell, what this function does is it checks if there's text been entered in here. So generally you enter text here, 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 and this is the last one you enter it into. And then the function runs. It does the calculations, it figures out how much it costs to shop, it figures out this number, it figures out this number, it figures out which one is less, and then it outputs this final piece of text. Now how do we have our function, we have our front end, but how do we get our function to run? Because otherwise the function is just sitting there. Unless you call the function, it won't run. Well, we use this line here. So we use the onChange command. So income per hour, so we remember up here, we have income per hour. We have here income per hour, which is just this. So anytime the anytime this value, income per hour, changes, or anytime the time to shop changes, or delivery charge changes, or the time it takes to deliver changes, anytime any of these values change, it will run the function. So that's the function. That's how this code works. It's very simple. I hope that I was able to explain this to you. If you have any lingering questions, drop a comment below, and I'll be happy to answer it.